Fifth race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bob and Skeleton World Cups at Innsbruck in Austria. First up, the men's skeleton, and after cancellation in Koenigsegg, it's also the European Championships. Alexander Tretyakov, a former champion, lying in fifth place after the first heat. The Russian rocket tidied up his act in the second run to take the lead with 4 sleds to go. And ahead of him, there was a massively tight three-way tie for the silver medal. First to go, Sunbin Jung of Korea, the Olympic champion, still struggling a little at the start after knee surgery on both legs during the summer. Hasn't got his full speed, and he was just in front of Tretyakov to put himself into the lead, but there was still 3 to come. First of whom, Axel Jung of Germany. The three-way tie for second was 22 hundredths off the first heat leader. So this looked like a battle for silver, and one that Jung was losing all the way down the track. He'd slipped behind Yun at the line, a 1-2 for Korea and Germany, but 2 still to come. Both of them called Dukurs, both of them from Latvia. Thomas Dukurs, the older of the 2 brothers, has tied his brother Martins for gold here before and in the European Championships, but today was not to be one of those days. Indeed, he couldn't even hang on to the tie for second place, slipping down the order to what would eventually become 5th. Because there seemed little doubt after Heat 1, with nearly a quarter-second advantage, that Martins Dukurs' incredible run of form in Innsbruck would continue. 9 straight seasons he's won here, World Cup and World Championships, and this was the 10th, a 10th straight win in the European Championships as well, at the track that he says just loves him. Sunbin Jung taking second, Axel Jung third, and in the European Championships it was a 10th straight win for Dukurs, with Jung on the silver position and Alexander Tretyakov taking bronze. The Russian still heads the points table, but Dukurs, with his 51st career World Cup win, has finally broken a year-long drought. Friday also saw the women's skeleton in action at Igls. Into the second heat, and Great Britain's Laura Dees, the Olympic bronze medalist, lay in 8th position as she battled for World Cup and European Championship honours. A good solid run from the Brit saw her take the lead, and she would be in the leader's box as we got to the final 7 sliders. First up was Germany's Tina Hermann. Unaccustomed to being so far down, she's had a slew of medals on this track. Despite its short length and her tardy start, she normally manages to find speed at the bottom. But this year's track is more of a driver's run, Hermann only getting her nose in front as she crossed the line. She was still the leader when her teammate Jacqueline Lurling came to the block with 3 to go. So could Hermann take a medal away from Lurling, who's been on the podium here the last couple of seasons and won the World Championships in 2016 on this track? The answer was possibly, but Lurling was in the lead with her teammate in second. 2 to go, and already a 2-time winner this season, Elena Nikitina of Russia. She's got a lightning start, and her driving has come on so strongly over the last 12 months. The World Cup points leader kept her nose in front, and just 1 athlete remained to separate her from another win. And that was hometown queen Janine Flock. She's won on this track, but not at the top level. She's taken medals and European Championship medals as well as World Championship medals, and she was behind the Russian right from the start. But this was to be the big year for Janine. She led the first heat by just 9 hundredths of a second and hauled back Nikitina at the bottom of the track to claim what was her first ever senior level win on her home ice at Innsbruck. Janine Flock victorious from Elena Nikitina and Jacqueline Lurling. A big, big win for Janine at home with friends and family in abundance, and she claims another European Championship gold, her 3rd, with Nikitina and Lurling also among the medals. Nikitina continues to lead the World Cup standings, but the chasing pack is closing. Saturday morning action at Innsbruck, and Nadezhda Sergeyeva in the women's bobsleigh halfway down the field after the first of the 2 heats. Everybody had struggled a little on cold, mirror-like ice that was hard to gauge. But Sergeyeva reacted well after the first heat a great drive to put herself into the lead, and with a big advantage over teammate Ludov Czernik, she would still be in the lead when we got to the final four. The woman who would depose the Russian from the leaders' box was Germany's Anna Köhler. Already with a handful of World Cup medals in her young career, she and Leonie Fiebig put together another great start and another good drive. 3 to go, and we got to last year's winner, Stephanie Schneider, with Ann-Kristen Strack behind her. The Germans are very strong indeed in the 18-19 season, and Schneider was to prove that her win in Winterberg was no fluke. She laid down a storming second heat, a real challenge to the Olympic champion and world champion who are yet to come. The Olympic champion, her teammate Mariama Yamanka, with an 18-year-old brakewoman, Kira Lipperheider, who was in her first ever international bobsled race. They weren't quite as quick at the start as their teammates, and Yamanka didn't have enough ice to make up the deficit, dropping back by 11 hundredths into second. And that left Alana Myers-Taylor. She'd had just 2 runs in training, sick and in hospital on one of the days, and she sat in for the other one. So the race conditions were very different, and she was not feeling up to the task. The first heat lead was hers, but in the end, she couldn't hold on. Victory went to Stephanie Schneider, ahead of Mariama Yamanka. Alana Myers-Taylor again in the medals, feeling very under the weather. Another medal for Mariama Yamanka means the Olympic champion still leads the point standings. Excellent sliding conditions for the 2-man competition on Saturday afternoon, and for the first time this season, the joint Olympic champion in 2-man Justin Cripps of Canada did not lead the first heat. In fact, he wasn't even in a medal position. He was 5th after the first run, 21 hundredths back. Nevertheless, a good strong run from him put him ahead of Christoph Hafer, the young German in for the injured Nico Walter. But would Cripps take a medal? There was still 4 to go, not least of whom was Dominik Dvorak. 4th in Sigulda in the season opener, his best ever 2-man race, and he looked on target to defend that and match it as well. But right at the end of the run, Cripps' top speed paid off. Dvorak was behind by a fraction of a second, but still in the top 5. Next up, Oskars Kibermanis. Kibermanis with an enviable record-earning success story so far this season and in previous years here in Innsbruck. Could he hold on to the medal spots? He was a 10th behind the leaders from the first heat and eased away from Justin Cripps to guarantee himself another World Cup medal. Johannes Lochner of Germany with Florian Bauer, and drama at the start as Lochner barely made it into the sled, despite which he put together another storming run. He was only 8 hundredths off the lead from the first heat and roared away from Oskars Kibermanis. Despite his scare, a real threat to the world and Olympic champion Francesco Friedrich. A great start from Friedrich, and Torsten Margis put him in with a real shot at his 35th career 2-man win. And Friedrich tidied up his act from the first heat, running away to win by 15 hundredths of a second. His 5th win this season, and he's been unbeaten now in over 12 months in all competitions in the 2-man. Friedrich, with a perfect score so far, continues to lead the World Cup standings as we head next time to St. Moritz. Sunday lunchtime and time for the blue ribboned event, the 4-man bob. Into the second heat, Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic lying in a strong 6th position in a tightly packed field, just 4 hundredths of a second out of a top 5. He was challenging Nico Walter of Germany, the Olympic silver medalist, and put himself into the leader's box. Next up, Maxim Anjanov of Russia, only 4 hundredths faster than the Czech Republic sled in the first heat. Another strong start from the Russian crew gave him 100th in hand. Could he stay in front of Dvorak at the line? He would by a 10th. Justin Cripps fell by the wayside. Then we were down to 3. Johannes Lochner, a winner already this season, last time out in Koenigsegg, Bavaria. 39 hundredths off the lead, only a few ahead of the Russians from the first heat. He opened up that margin, but it wouldn't be enough to put him in the battle for gold. That was a two-horse race. Oscar's Kiebermanis, who has had seconds and thirds all year, but no wins. Only 1300ths off the lead from the first heat, but a couple of errors crept in on the short 1300-metre track. And although he took the lead, he feared it wouldn't be enough. And in the end, it turned out he was right. Francesco Friedrich and his crew had crushed the old track record by nearly 0.2 of a second to take a first heat lead that Friedrich extended, tidying up the couple of errors that crept in on run one to race away to his third win in four-man of the season, his 8th in all disciplines, and his second here this weekend. His first time ever on the top step of the four-man podium in Innsbruck, ahead of Kiebermanis and Lochner. And that means Francesco Friedrich retains the World Cup points lead ahead of Lochner, Kiebermanis and Nico Walter.